Cory Anderson, gear up and make your adjustments because it's wrench time. The name of the game this time around is Formulate, inspired by, of course, the pressing need to formulate new, cleaner fuel strategies. So let's formulate some strategies of our own. Are you ready there, sir?
I'm ready.
Those seeking to improve oil performance say that better oxidization stability is a key to the improvement. But the question is, do you increase the oil drain intervals or run at a higher temperature? And remember here, you can't do both.
Man, you think about this, and either one will increase the oxidation. So I'd agree you can't do both. I would say only the highest level products, which maintain the highest viscosity standards, should be what you should run in your truck to be able to attack either of those strategies. Anything lower than that highest level of product will start to break down and not be able to perform at that peak performance expectation that you would have.
So get a better product and stick with it, and it prevents the breakdown then.
Absolutely. Once you leave that highest tier level, think about all the new trucks and the technology that are running on 1030 now. If you're using a lower grade oil product, then very quickly it starts to have the characteristics of a 1540, which affects things like your fuel and just starts to degrade the engine very quickly.
We've heard recently that diesel appears to have a long life ahead of it still. So, researchers like yourself and those attending the University of Wisconsin's Fuel and Engines Technology Symposium keep coming up with ways to extend fuel's life, diesel. Right now, the solutions read like a line from the Farmer's Almanac: renewable crops, solar energy, and agricultural waste that will likely one day play a role. As a researcher, what would you do to extend diesel's life as a fuel?
That's a great question. I would say there's a lot of different strategies and approaches you can take. A thing to think about would be the remanufacturing of these engines. So as these engines come to a point where they need to be rebuilt or remanufactured, the remanufacturing partners today, the larger ones, are focused on taking those older blocks and bringing them up to current technology. So you're able to get, just think about your truck and the way it performed just a few years ago when you were chasing 6 miles per gallon, and now you're chasing into the teens, right? And so if I can take that old block and instead of just rebuilding the engine, I can have it remanufactured. I can prolong the life of diesel because I'm going to get a much better performance out of it. So I would say that's one way to look at it would be remanufacturing.
Okay, good to know. Let's switch gears a little bit and do a little bit of word association, if you will. Let's see if you can formulate a response to some of these questions. We recently asked Pitt, Ohio's VP of Maintenance Solutions and Fleet Services, Taki DeCarcos, to help us envision the fleet maintenance landscape in 10 years. The word that he used to talk about was workforce management, autonomous and EVs, and more. Different. That's what he used. Now it's your turn. Give me a one word answer, one word, to describe the maintenance landscape 10 years from now.
Advanced.
Advanced it is. We'll take that and move on. Walmart recently revealed that their future fuel reads like a smorgasbord of diesel alternative options, including electric and hydrogen, natural gas. It all seems to be part of their emissions cutting formula. One word to describe this approach: electric, hydrogen, natural gas. How are they going to do this with diesel alternatives?
Multifarious.
Well, that's a word with a with a hash mark in between, so we'll give you credit for that. That's okay. Okay. Uh, the popular Calibrate column, TMC Corner, speaks to the way that technology figures into energy efficiency and its overall performance. I want to hear you speak to the same point. Give me three words to describe the role of technology in commercial vehicle performance.
Analytics, predictive, and evolving.
Analytics, predictive, and evolving. Good to know. Now the final word. That was pretty good too, Cory. Uh, the last segment, in your words, in these last moments, tell us what's the future most important thing that shop and maintenance managers should remember about planning for a future fuel.
I would say invest in planning your learning and development. So the training of your technicians. Spend the money now because the emission standards are going to continue to challenge, as well as the EV strategy. So invest in learning and development of your technicians. And I would say start to plan on what your CapEx investments need to be for both tooling as well as the infrastructure that's going to be necessary to service these modern trucks.
Cory Anderson's Fleet Pride. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. This was a Transport Topics Magazine Events Series production.